You're going to build one real C project today, a tiny math library, compiled 3 completely different ways. First as a static library baked straight into the executable. Then as a dynamic library the operating system loads in at runtime. And finally, that same dynamic library loaded on purpose, by hand, with dlopen. The functions never change add and square, the whole way through. What changes is entirely how the linker and the operating system put your program together, and that difference is exactly what breaks real deployments in the wild. Everything we build tonight compiles the same tiny library, one header, one source file, 2 functions, add and square. Keeping the code this small is deliberate. It lets us focus entirely on how the build changes, not on what the code does. Here's the whole library, a header declaring add and square, and a source file implementing them. Add returns a plus b, square returns n times n. Nothing fancy. The interesting part starts the moment we compile this into something other programs can actually link against. And here's the program that calls it main.c prints add of 2 and 3, then square of 6. This file never changes for the rest of the video. Only how we build and link mathutils underneath it does. 2 functions, declared once. Now the first real decision every C project has to make: bake this library straight into the executable, or keep it as its own separate file. Stage 2, Static Libraries. A static library, a .a file, is just an archive of compiled object files, and once the linker copies whatever your program actually calls into the final executable, that library isn't needed again. 3 commands build this the static way. First, compile mathutils.c into an object file. Then archive it. arrcs creates the archive, inserts with replace, and builds an index so the linker can look up symbols without scanning every member one by one. Finally, link main.c against dl. Tells the linker to also search the current directory, and mathutils tells it to look for a file named libmathutils. Specifically, the lib prefix and the .a suffix get added automatically, you never type them yourself. Run app_static, and you get add of 2, 3 is 5, square of 6 is 36, exactly what main.c asked for. An M on the archive proves what actually ended up inside. Both add and square show up marked with a capital T, meaning they're defined, compiled code sitting right there in libmathutils.a, ready for the linker to pull in whenever something calls them. The payoff is a binary that runs standalone anywhere. Copy app_static to a machine with nothing else installed, and it just works. The cost is disk space, since every program linking this library gets its own copy of the code baked in, and staleness, since fixing a bug in mathutils.c means recompiling and relinking every single program that uses it. Imagine 10 different tools on your machine all statically linking the same math library. Fix one bug in it, and you're rebuilding all 10, one at a time. Stage 3, Dynamic Libraries. A dynamic library stays a completely separate file the operating system loads at once and maps it into every process that needs it, at the moment each process actually starts. The dynamic build starts with a different flag. fPIC compiles position-independent code, because a shared library gets mapped into a different memory address inside every process that loads it, and the compiled bytes have to work no matter where they land. Static libraries never needed that, since their code gets copied into one fixed binary at link time. Shared turns the result into libmathutils.so. Linux calls this a .so, macOS conventionally calls it a .dlib, but Clang will happily accept .so as a name on both, which is what we're using here. App_dynamic links against it the same way as before. Run it, and you get the exact same add and square output. OTL, or LDD on Linux, shows what's genuinely different this time. libmathutils.so is listed as a dependency app_dynamic needs at startup. It's not inside the executable at all, just a name the OS loader has to go find and map in before main can even run. Copy app_dynamic somewhere that doesn't have libmathutils.so sitting next to it, and it fails outright before main ever runs. DYLD can't find the library it depends on. On Linux, the fix is exporting ld_library_path, or installing the library to a system path and running ldconfig. On macOS, it's dyld_library_path, or baking a search path straight into the binary with install_name_tool or path, so it doesn't depend on an environment variable at all. That's the exact shape of works on my machine. Fails on the deploy target. The executable itself is small and links instantly, but it's only actually complete once its shared libraries are present wherever it runs. This is the mirror image of the static case. One copy of libmathutils.so on disk is shared by every process using it, and patching a bug just means replacing that one file. Every program picks up the fix automatically next time it starts, with zero recompiling. The cost is exactly the fragility we just watched. The library actually has to be present and findable, wherever the program ends up running. Stage 4, loading it on purpose. Both builds so far load their library automatically the moment the process starts. Sometimes you want to decide that at runtime instead. Plugin systems, optional codecs, hot swappable modules, and that's exactly what dlopen and dlsym are for. Dlopen loads libmathutils.so explicitly, by path, at whatever moment the program chooses to call it, not automatically at startup like the last two builds. dlsym then looks up the add symbol inside that handle by name and hands back a raw function pointer, which the code casts to the right type by hand. There's no compiler-checked type safety at this boundary at all. Get the function's signature wrong, and the cast still succeeds silently, calling the result as undefined behavior that might not surface until the arguments get interpreted wrong somewhere downstream. That's exactly why this code checks dlerror explicitly right after the cast instead of trusting it. Build it with LDL to pull in the dynamic loading functions, and run it. Dlopen add of 10 and 20 prints 30. It's the exact same compiled function, from the exact same shared library, just located and called by name at runtime instead of linked in ahead of time at compile. Here's the decision this whole video has been building toward, boiled all the way down to what actually matters when you ship. Static gives you one self-contained binary with zero runtime dependency, at the cost of size, and having to reling every program that depends on it whenever you fix a bug. Dynamic gives you a smaller binary and exactly one shared file to patch, at the cost of that file actually needing to be present, and version compatible, wherever your program runs. Most real systems use both at once: statically linking small, stable utility code, and dynamically linking large, frequently updated libraries, including the C standard library itself. If you're shipping a small CLI tool to end users who won't have a compiler or package manager, static usually wins. If you're running a fleet of services on your own servers where you control the environment, dynamic usually wins. That's the whole real-world build pipeline for a C library: an object file, a static archive, a shared library, and loading one on purpose with dlopen. Every command and every line of code in this video came straight from the static and dynamic libraries lesson linked below. Go build mathutils yourself, then move app_dynamic to a folder without its library and watch dyld fail exactly the way it did here.